Oh, hello. In today's video, which is a return to the Shower Thoughts series, we're going to be thinking about just how important AP2 is. And I know what some of you are already screaming at the screen, it's obviously very important. I don't disagree, but just how important is it? So, this started, I was talking to Zimbad about the Horus Heresy, the Kill Team mod that I reviewed on this channel, the third party, the fan-made thing. And he remarked that I was going through the video and I was like, oh, they can take a plasma gun, they can take a plasma gun, plasma gun, plasma gun, plasma gun, plasma gun, plasma gun. And he was basically getting frustrated that that was pretty boring, and we started to talk about the extent to which that was the case in real Kill Team, in the, you know, the actual Games Workshop Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team official rules, that you're kind of going through and your eyes are scanning all the way through for AP2 as you're going down. And we had a little bit of a backwards and forwards and a little bit of a debate about how important that AP is or isn't. And obviously we were talking about the Phobos, where one of the big complaints people have about the Phobos, I will say the complaints people have had from their gut, the complaints before anyone's really played the team, is they really lack they lack any kind of AP2. They've got a tiny bit of access to AP1, but they lack any kind of AP2, so we can't really see how they're going to work, how they're going to deal with certain with certain matchups, you know, against other elite teams. And I think we came to a conclusion, myself and Zimbad, that AP2 is pretty important. Certainly in our little team, myself, Zimbad and Mrs. Tales of Impulse, we all fear Vet Guard. And I think one of the reasons to fear Vet Guard is that famously, Vet Guard can bring 3 AP2 weapons as well as a shed load of AP1 weapons as well, right? Because they can have the melter gun and the plasma gun and the plasma pistol, all AP2, 3 AP2 weapons, and they're also getting their grenade launcher for AP1, crack grenades, which they'd take 3 until the recent nerf, and now they're still taking 1 crack grenade, but they get a lot of AP weapons, and AP is just, it's phenomenally powerful in Kill Team, because everybody's rolling these 3 defense dice, and denying one of those is powerful. Denying 2 of them is borderline absurd. So I decided that what I'd do, I will go through the entire meta. So all the valid teams, I've taken every team except for, you know, the ones that have been officially removed, and I've ranked them by the amount of ranged AP2 that they can take. To see, just as an exercise, to see if these conversations, if these gut feelings that we have are borne out in reality. Now, I'm totally open to the fact that I might have made a mistake somewhere, I might have missed something. But let's just look at the data really quickly in this way, just focusing in on that ranged AP2, just to see if we can learn anything interesting. The first thing to notice that basically is that almost half the teams that exist in the game have no access to AP2. Okay, so Phobos famously, no access to AP2. People have speculated, I use the word speculated, that having no access to AP2 makes them uncompetitive. Hive Fleet, no AP2. Pathfinders, and I was actually surprised, I've not played Pathfinders a lot. I just assumed that they had some AP2. I assumed that one of their special weapons was AP2. It's all AP1. Pathfinders have no AP2, unless I've missed something. Kroot, no AP2, but everybody finds Kroot fairly risible as a concept. Commandos, no AP2, and again, I thought, surely the crack, the rocket guy, is that going to be AP2? No. Is the Squig, is that AP2? No. There's a lot of faulty memories for teams that I've played against, but I've never played as. Tomb World, no. Wormblade, no. Brood Coven, no. Warp Coven, no. I really thought one of their psychic powers had high AP, but no. Demons, no. Grey Knights, no. And Talons, no. So that's kind of the half of the meta, a little under half, that has no AP2, right? Then you've got a couple of teams with one AP2 weapon. Now, some of these are really interesting. So you got three. You got the Novitiates, the Hunter Clade, and the Void Dancer Troop. So the Void Dancer Troop have their fusion pistol, which is short range, AP2, but it's really short range. It's range blue, so you have to get right in somebody's face. It's really interesting to me that one of the nerfs they did to Harlequins, because I don't think Harlequins going to a White Dwarf team was necessarily a nerf overall. I'm not sure it was necessarily a buff overall. It was a change comprised of nerfs and buffs. But one of the parts of that was certainly a nerf was they lost their second fusion pistol. So they used to be able to take two. They're down to the one fusion pistol. Hunter Clade have their Plasma Cavalier, which is, I think it's identical to a plasma gun, pretty sure. It just has a different name. Plasma guns, they used to be able to have two, again, when they were Forge World. But one of the reasons Forge World was specifically taken out and replaced with Hunter Clade, I believe, is that they wanted them not to have the ability to take two plasma guns. There's very few teams that have the option to take two full range AP2 weapons, right? There's very few teams that have the option to take full range AP2 weapons. Craft World. So Craft World have two fusion guns. A fusion gun is a melter gun. Okay. So again, it's only if you take the not striking scorpions, the Storm Guardians. Storm Guardians take fusion guns. You can take two melter guns. Pretty good. The Corsair Void Scarred have got their fusion pistol and a blaster. Now the blaster is an amazing weapon because the blaster is basically one of the only sources of AP2 in the game that doesn't have a significant downside. Okay, because melters and things that are basically the same as melters, like a fusion gun, they have short range. Okay. Plasma guns, if you want to access their AP2, they have gets hot. Okay? Blasters have neither of those things. Blasters are just infinite range AP2 filly boots. Okay? Now, the Corsair Void Scarred can also take AP2 on one of their heavy weapons, but I didn't list it here because I was going through and I was trying to pick the optimal things that you could take if you were trying to max out, and the blaster is better than that heavy weapon every day of the week. And then you've got this vast trench of things. So you've got the Death Guard, the Traitor Space Marines, that's Compendium Chaos, Legionary Bespoke Chaos, Space Marines as far as the Death Watch and the Tacticals, who can all take a plasma pistol and a plasma gun. So we got all the kind of Marine type teams that can take a plasma pistol and plasma gun. Fair enough. Okay, which I guess is why people were expecting the people were kind of shocked, I guess, that the Phobos didn't get it, because they're an elite team, a six-man team that doesn't have two ways of getting AP2, where every other six-man team has. And I know you can play Warp Coven as a six-man team, but they have the option of taking the goats, right? Ecclesiarchy, so Compendium Sisters, slightly different to the Space Marines. So they can get a melter. They can't get a plasma gun just because of models, but they can get a melter gun and a plasma pistol. So pretty similar, right? And now we get into the interesting teams. The top four here that are all pretty interesting. So you've got the famous Vet Guard, and at the same time you've got the Bloodied. The Vet Guard and the Bloodied both have access to 3 AP2 weapons. Plasma Pistol, Plasma Gun, and Melter Gun. Right? Now, the Vet Guard are a better shooting team than the Bloodied, because the Vet Guard also have access to a grenade launcher, right? Whereas the bloodied are capped at only having 2 gunners. The Vet Guard can run all 4. The 4th is a flamer, which isn't really shooting, but I digress. So I think that's one reason why you hear a lot of terror about Vet Guard, because they're bringing these 3 AP2 weapons plus a bunch of AP1 weapons. The bloodied, I think, are being underestimated. I underestimated them in my review. I think it's a mistake to kind of think of the bloodied as being similar to novitiates, which is how I first looked at them. They're kind of a weak combat team, but then they've got a little bit of shooting. You could actually run them as a full shooting team. And I think what you're trying to do is tie people up in combat and then shoot into combat. I think bloodied are going to be one of those teams that maybe in a box's time or in 2 boxes' time, suddenly bloodied are going to come out of nowhere. They'll get no buffs. It'll be like Vet Guard again. They'll get no buffs, but suddenly people will be like, oh no, bloodied are really good. But I think bloodied suffer from, on paper, their rules don't look interesting. There's nobody that really... Like, Phobos are going to get players because there's people that are waiting for Space Marines, and they're not thrilled to get Phobos, but if they were trying to make Deathwatch work or something, and then they get Phobos, they're like, you know what, I'll try and make Phobos work. Nobody was really sitting there waiting for Chaos Guard. If they love the Guard, then they've been playing Vet Guard, and there's very little impetus to swap. And if they love Chaos, then they've probably been playing Legionaries, who are more iconically legionary. I think bloodied are just underrepresented just because of what they are in the fluff and the fact that it's a big modelling project. You know, it's 13 miniatures, potentially. 14 potentially, I guess, but you always take the Ogryn, you know, which is a lot of models to paint up. So I think bloodied might be really good. We just don't think of them as really good because people aren't playing them. And then we got on to the 2 really interesting teams. So, Comorites. Now, I have a Comorite team. It's painted up, it's ready to go. I have most of the options that I would want to run Comorites. Comorites can have a blast pistol on the leader, right? Which is like a short-range melter pistol, but notably, it's not a fusion pistol. I have not got the rules in front of me, but I'm 90% sure the blast pistol has the full range of red. Okay, they've got the blaster, which, as discussed, is infinite range AP2 with no downside, and they can also take a Dark Lance. Now, Dark Lance is rocking the heavy and unwieldy thing, but it's still got a 3rd source of AP2, right? It puts you in only one of 4 teams that can rock 3 sources of AP2, but one of those sources of AP2 is the blaster, which is just, it's like, is it a hot take to say that the blaster is the best gun in Kill Team? Like, I realise that having the best gun in Kill Team doesn't make you the best roster in Kill Team. I'm not saying that Comorites are secretly the best team you can play Kill Team with, but is it a hot take to say that the blaster is the best gun? And therefore, there are 2 teams that can get Dark Eldar blasters, and maybe the bog standard Comorites deserve a little bit more play. And then the real sleeper hit, if this is a thing, and I'm not 100% certain it is a thing, but the real sleeper hit, if this is a thing, is Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard run in a very specific way, where you take 1 fire team of Scions and 1 fire team of the regular Imperial Guard. And it does let you take 2 plasma guns and 2 melter guns. In fact, I think I missed a trick on this table. I think Imperial Guard might actually have 5 sources of AP2, because I'm pretty sure you can take a plasma pistol on your boss as well, right? Like, certainly if you take a Scion, we wheel round here and look at my Scions in the cupboard. Pretty sure my leader's got a plasma pistol. Someone will tell me in the comments if I'm right or wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can have a plasma pistol on your soldier as well. So actually, they can have 5 sources of AP2. You'd think that would be really good. Like, you don't hear about people running Compendium Imperial Guard. Well, no, you do. You hear about people running pure Scions to really leverage the fact that they can project their orders all around the table. but I've not heard of anyone running split guard. Now, it could just be one of those things about hobby and the lore and where we are as a community, where people don't run split guard because split guard, like, it looks bad on the tabletop. If you're running like, oh, here's a few Cadians and here's a few Silents, it looks like you're really trying to min-max, to use the RPG parlance, right? You're playing something that's almost actively against the background. So maybe that's why. Maybe secretly it's not very good, and there's something that I'm missing. But regular Compendium Imperial Guard are the kings of AP2. And maybe somebody wants to get on that. Now, I feel sure that we're going to get a Scions team when, probably the next team, or within the next couple of teams, we're going to get Plastic Scions for Kill Team. And when that happens, in the next balanced data slate, they'll probably erase Imperial Guard Compendium. I believe, right? Just like I sort of believe, not that it's particularly worthy of note, but I kind of, I know we've just had a balanced data slate, but this balanced data slate that we've just had doesn't really account for the Phobos and the Bloodied. I kind of feel like in the next balanced data slate, they might retire the Traitor Space Marines now that they've kind of put a cultist team out there. So, all I'm saying is, before anybody goes out and goes, oh, Tabletop Impulse said that people are sleeping on split vet guard, I'm going to go out and convert 6 guys and then have them and middle them up with my Scions, and I'm going to try that at an event, and then Games Workshop turns it off. That is a possibility. Like with all the Compendium teams, we have to kind of believe that there's a possibility that Games Workshop are just going to go, yeah, no, that's not a thing. But I don't know. If you know somebody that's had great success with Compendium Guard, not, oh yes, I've got this friend and he plays Scions and he does really well with them, but specifically doing the split thing to just max the AP2, let me know. I know Comorites have done well in America. Didn't Comorites do something like top 3 at the LVO or something like that at one of the American tournaments? I think there's possibly a lot more play in Comorites than I have given them consideration for. Right, well, that's my kind of half-cooked ramble at some data. Let's do some final thoughts. Obviously, it's not really this simple, right? You're trying to boil what is quite a complicated game down to like one metric. And you could do the same thing. You could look at wounds, and you could be like, which team gets to put out the most wounds? And what does that tell us about the game? And which team gets to put out the most activations, right? And what does that tell us about the game? Because those things are also important, right? I get that. I do. And it's worth saying as well that AP1 is also important. And what perhaps I should have done for this video is worked out who had AP2, who had AP1, and then assigned each AP2 weapon a value of 2 and each AP1 weapon a value of 1, and then calculated the maximum AP score for each. See, that sounds really clever, but I haven't done that, and I'm 19 minutes into rambling through a video, so I'm not going to cam the video and start again. But like, just off the top of our heads, that would then put Vet Guard on the top of the pyramid, wouldn't it? Right? If you summed AP, if you gave 2 points for each AP2 weapon that they could take, 1 point for each AP1 weapon that they could take, 1 point for having access to crack grenades now, because you can take 1 crack grenade, or maybe half a point for access to crack grenades because it's only 1 throwing of the crack grenade. That would change the layout of the table, although not massively, I don't think. But that would certainly reveal why I think Vet Guard are so powerful. Plasma guns. So this was a little addendum, that's the word I'm searching for. So again, I was talking to Zimbad, I think it was yesterday, about this, because I was talking to him, which video should I make a Custodes rundown? Should I make the AP shower thoughts video, or should I make there's another video that I'm thinking of doing that's a hobby video, which was also in the running for today and was also in the running for Monday. And we were talking about the AP thing again, and he said, "Look, it's only you." His words to me were, "It's only you that's obsessed with overcharging plasma guns. Some people never overcharge their plasma guns. I actually think it's AP1 that's the thing." So I'd love your thoughts on that. Lots of teams have plasma guns or plasma cavaliers in the case of the AdMech. Would you say, I could run this as a poll on the community tab, and I might do that, but do you always, do you rarely overcharge? Do you nearly always overcharge, or do you genuinely think it's about a 50-50? Also, let me know if you run split compendium guard to max up eyes, 2 melters and 2 plasma guns. And if you do run it, have you had success with it? Especially interested if you had success against bespoke teams with split compendium guard. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, have a look at some of my other videos. If you've enjoyed 3 videos, then subscribe. Really helps me out. You'll get, I know there's a lot of people, I do it as well. There are channels that I should subscribe to. There are channels that I know that I should subscribe to because I watch nearly every single one of their videos, and the YouTube recommended page basically thwarts me needing to subscribe to them because I watch so few things on YouTube that it's like, every time they do a new video, it pops on my recommended, so why do I need to subscribe? The answer is you're subscribing to help me. You're doing me a solid. You're not really doing it for you. YouTube knows what you like and will feed it to you. You're doing it for me. So if you could do me that favour of pressing subscribe if you haven't already, that would be amazing. Like I say, if you've enjoyed 3 videos, then probably you're going to enjoy more of them. And if you're in that boat of watching nearly all the videos just because they're on the recommended page, just throw me to subscribe. Likes are also good on the videos. Engaging in the comments is great, but I've already mentioned that. And then you can go the extra mile if you're going to go and buy all the contrast paints when they come out. £5 a contrast paint. £5 for one. It's like £4.75. But if you're going to go and spend that money on 25 contrast paints, go and use my Element Games link down in the description, please. That would help me out as well. Okay, and Discord. Join the Discord. It's getting bigger and better and more jam-packed with people every single day. So that's fantastic. That is enough kind of e-begging from me for you to click all the various things. I will never have to click the bell because the bell is obnoxious. I physically have to go around and unclick the bell on various channels because they invade my life. I've rambled enough about YouTube stuff. About 20 people have already turned the video off. Cheerio, folks. I hope you have a great rest of your evening /day/morning/ whatever you are doing.